Out of all the swelling that I'm currently experiencing, the volume component is probably the least painful. So today we're going to talk about volume pedals, some cool things you can do with them, and specifically the Ernie Ball 40th anniversary volume pedal. So why do you need a volume pedal? I mean, really, you could just do the same thing with like the knobs on your guitar, right? Well, a couple different reasons. Really, volume pedal, this one specifically, is just a potentiometer, just like a pot, a 250K pot that is in your guitar. Now, a lot of times you might find yourself not wanting to use that for a variety of different reasons. So number one, all this, at its most basic is it takes a signal, and then you can kind of cut it off or bring it back in, okay? So, just like a volume pot, right? That's just really the most basic thing that it could possibly do. Number two, it actually is the perfect way to measure exactly 2 pounds of produce. Now, probably the third reason, and I think the reason you probably most would want to use this, is because you can start incorporating volume swells into your playing, okay? What that is let's take the pedal all the way off, right? So now it's up, which means that I've got everything on full blare on my guitar, and I can't hear anything, all right? So maybe I hit a chord, and then as I bring the switch down, it engages it, right? So this is called a volume swell. You can do a lot of cool things with it. What it does, you're eliminating the attack of your instrument, okay? So what I mean by that is like if I just have the volume on full thing, really you get that sharp attack on the front of your guitar, depending on how you hit it. And then there's a sustain afterwards. So basically all it is if you attack first, you can kind of blend in the sustain. If you're doing any kind of like ambient guitar playing, having a good volume pedal is kind of a must, honestly. But you can do a lot more than just that. And I think that's where it kind of brings in how it interacts with other pedals. So for instance, I've got this Strymon timeline set up right here. So again, full volume, if I kind of engage the delay pedal, it has this somewhat infinite thing, okay? So as soon as you start thinking of a volume pedal as a way to control the amount of signal that you're feeding into other pedals or into an amp, then it really kind of opens up a whole other world of what you can do with it, right? So the way a delay pedal works is it takes a signal and then it repeats it a certain amount of times depending on the parameters that you set, okay? So if I have something with a really long hold, like that was, it took a while for that to decay, I can start blending in how much of that signal I want the delay pedal to pick up. So I can start doing stuff like, and now even though I have the volume backed off, I'm still hearing the decay of what I fed into the delay pedal. So really, I'm creating much more of an atmosphere that I have really a lot of control over, because I think a really cool sound that you can get with delay pedals, different reverb pedals, is that kind of infinite ambience. And sometimes that can be really hard to control, because depending on how much of that signal that you feed into it, it can get overloaded really quickly with a lot of feedback, all right? So that's just one example of one of many pedals that you can kind of use a volume pedal just as something to feed a certain amount of signal into. Now, another thing that you can do is some pedals have a stereo out, where maybe they have the dry signal passing through, and then they have just the affected signal passing through. What you can do is you can actually put the volume pedal into the chain. Like right now, I just have it at the beginning. A lot of players will have the volume pedal as one of the first things in their chain, because it just affects the signal. You can feed it into everything else. But if you actually put it in between, maybe a stereo pedal like that, you can actually blend a certain effect into your playing in real time while you're doing it, right? So again, I really think it just opens up a lot of different things. It can make existing pedals that you have worth even more, and just kind of use your own creativity to kind of see how you can make it work. Another thing that is really helpful for, specifically to Sean Daniel, if you are Sean Daniel, it is an excellent way to get your guitar cable from your amp to the center of the room, to the couch, if you need to have the guitar on the couch, because it's that far away. So it also works as kind of a passive relay. Now that's kind of a specific feature to this pedal that you may not be interested in, but it's definitely something that I found myself using a lot. So hopefully you've maybe learned a little bit about volume pedals, how they work, some different applications of them, and how maybe you can use them to be creative in your own playing or incorporate them into your own playing. Specifically, the Ernie Ball one. I really like that. I really like this one because they have like a Kevlar reinforced cord, and I used to work at Guitar Center, so trust me, like, so a lot of the volume pedals like would come back because there's just like a string that comes in, and that string would always snap, and you'd have to like put a new string on there. And basically what you do is like, you hit the foot switch, and then it like moves the string, and then it kind of like opens and closes the pot. So yeah, back in the day, we would always get broken volume pedals in because that string would break. They have this Kevlar reinforced one, which they're touting, and I can definitely vouch for it. It's solid. I don't see it breaking anytime soon, and it just looks pretty sweet. So I definitely endorse this volume pedal specifically, but really just kind of like being more thoughtful about your effects chain and how you use it is kind of the name of the game to just stoke your own creativity. So hopefully, you go out and pick one up. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.